Question is the motion be agreed to, and I give the call to the member for Moore.
I rise to speak in support of the condolence motion following the horrific and deliberate terrorist attack at Bondi Beach on the 14th of December 2025. This was not a random act of violence, but a deliberate attack intended to cause death and injury and to spread fear by targeting Jewish Australians. And it is for that reason that I begin by extending my deepest condolences to the families, friends and loved ones of those who lost their lives. Nothing said in this place can ease their grief, but it is right that the Parliament of Australia pauses to acknowledge their loss and place on record our collective sorrow. For the injured, for those who witnessed the violence, and for the broader Bondi and Sydney communities, this event has left an enduring mark. What should have been an ordinary day, people enjoying the beach, meeting friends, spending time with family, was shattered by an act of calculated hatred. And that rupture to everyday safety is itself a source of trauma. That must not be understated. From Western Australia, Bondi may feel a long way away geographically, but moments like this collapse distance very quickly. Australians understand beaches and public spaces as places of openness, shared civic environments where people of all backgrounds move freely and without fear. And when violence intrudes into those spaces, particularly violence motivated by hatred toward a specific community, it resonates across the country. This was not just an attack on those present that day. It was an attack on Jewish Australians as a community and on the values of safety and inclusion Australians rightly expect. Jewish Australians should never be made to feel unsafe in public places, at cultural gatherings, or in the simple act of living their lives. Anti-Semitism, whether expressed through words, symbols, or violence, has no place in Australia. And terrorism driven by that hatred must be condemned unequivocally. In the midst of the chaos, however, we saw extraordinary courage and decency. Members of the public acted instinctively, helping strangers, shielding others, and providing first aid in circumstances no one should ever face. They were ordinary Australians who stepped forward because someone needed help, and that deserves recognition by this House. I also wish to place on record my respect and gratitude for the first responders, police, paramedics, surf lifesavers, who responded swiftly and professionally. Their actions undoubtedly saved lives. They ran towards danger, not away from it, with the calm competence Australians rely upon in times of crisis. Events like this understandably provoke fear, anger and a demand for answers. Those reactions are human, but they also test us, particularly those of us entrusted with public office, by demanding a response grounded in steadiness, clarity and resolve, rather than inflaming anxieties or reaching for easy explanations. Violence of this nature has no place in Australian society. It cannot be normalised, excused or explained away. As the member for Moore, I represent a diverse community of different backgrounds, faiths and histories, united by a shared expectation they will be safe and treated with dignity in this country. In my first speech to this Parliament, I referred to Martin Niemoller's First They Came, a reminder that failing to speak out when one group is targeted ultimately weakens the safety of all. When Jewish Australians are attacked because of who they are, it is not a matter for one community alone. It is a test of whether we are prepared to draw a clear and unequivocal line against hatred and political violence. Australia is a country built on the assumption that people will look out for one another. That assumption was shaken at Bondi, but it was also reaffirmed by the conduct by those who helped, those who responded, and those who supported victims and families in the aftermath. As a Parliament, our words today must not be a substitute for continued care, support and seriousness in how we approach public safety and community protection. Respect for the victims requires more than a moment of silence. It requires follow-through. In supporting this condolence motion, We affirm that every life lost mattered, and that every injury sustained is taken seriously, and that Australians are entitled to feel safe in public places. We also affirm that Jewish Australians are entitled to live free from fear, intimidation and violence, just as every Australian is. Finally, I join colleagues in standing with the people of Bondi, with the Jewish community, with the people of New South Wales, and with Australians everywhere who were shaken by this attack. We mourn with those who have lost loved ones, acknowledge the bravery of those who acted, and recommit ourselves to the values of safety, decency, and mutual respect that bind this country together. And in doing so, we affirm the kind of country Australia chooses to be.